Okay. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're here. Hello. Jazz hands for some reason. Hello, friends. I am here. It is Tuesday once again. I come on here every Tuesday and I talk about the things that you want me to talk about, or the things that have come up for me in a vocal coaching nervous system perspective this week. Hey, Alan, welcome. Welcome to Vocal Magic, by the way. Sorry, I'm getting a slow start to the week, but I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Hey, Bree, welcome. How is everybody doing? Give me a little hey or emoji in the chat. Let me know what you're working on this week. Let me know if I can help you in any way. Yeah, so welcome to my Tuesday lives. This is for everybody. I go live on Instagram and on my own community, and yeah, just talk about what's coming up. Nice, good job. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So this week, unless you guys have anything pressing that you are curious about, let me know what you're working on anyway. This week has been a lot of just like reminding my students that they are on the right track, because as perfectionists, it can be really easy to just go to the worst places in our minds and be like, it still doesn't sound like the recording. It still doesn't sound like good, in my opinion. It still sounds like gross and unstable, and it feels tight and it feels strange. So yeah, that's what we're finding. A lot of us, our default pathway is, why doesn't it sound better, right? Instead of what I usually try to ask people to do is, on purpose, record yourself. Go back through from the lens of what worked well, what went according to plan first, right? Because of course it's going to be easy for your brain to pick apart all the little nuances that didn't go well, all the bad wrong notes, all the tight strain parts, right? Of course we're going to hear those, but it's harder for our brain to naturally go to what went well, and a note that felt really open in the moment. Maybe a note that you have struggled to hit, and you hit it really well and open, and you let it be a little more free and easy. Oh, okay, that's strange. Can you hear me okay? Let me know. My microphone just changed for some reason. Yeah, so that's what I want you to do. That's your homework assignment. If you are a perfectionist, anxious, overthinking person, is record yourself. No matter if you never show anybody else, this is for scientific purposes only. You're welcome to send it to me, but still, it's good for you to know, for you to do that. Okay, thank you. And go back through and on purpose find 3 things that you liked. 3 things that went well, that went according to plan. It doesn't have to be as good as you want it to be eventually, because that's not the assignment, right? It's not what went as good as you could ever be. It's not what went as good as it would for Ariana Grande. No, what went well in this moment? What can you find that you succeeded on, right? If you gave yourself a focus point for singing through your song, maybe your focus point was, okay, this time I'm going to do it. I'm focusing on my breathing, right? I'm going to focus on finding that easy, low belly breath, right? And I don't mean sucking in your belly. I mean actually releasing your belly in your inhale. Maybe that's my focus for this time. And then you sang through your song, you recorded it, and you go back through and you look in and you see, oh, okay, that belly breath felt nice and open, right? It didn't feel tight. It didn't feel like I was pulling up all this extra tension. I opened here and I relaxed, and I let my belly release in that spot and in that spot and in that spot. And maybe I noticed also that note that came right after that belly breath felt really strong, and it felt really relaxed, and it felt really consistent tone-wise. And that's what the things I want you to start to notice. And you'll start to see a correlation between the belly breath and the consistent tone the belly breath and stronger, more powerful volume in your sound, that kind of stuff. That's another reason why I want you to do this, so that you start to see the correlation between how you felt and how it directly sounded. Because when we're in the moment singing, we can't always see clearly what actually happened versus how we felt on the inside, because we're so in the moment and we're so focused on the feeling, which is great. We love that. But we also need to be a scientist about it, and we need to see, okay, I remember how that felt. That one felt a little more open and released than usual, and now I can go back to the tape and I can check and I can see, oh yeah, in that moment, that free, open feeling really led to this more powerful, steady sound, steady tone that I've been wanting. So if you're freaking out about recording yourself, which I know some of you are, you don't have to show this to anybody. It's just for scientific purposes. Literally, like, I know it's even scary to go back and look even for scientific purposes, but this is the challenge, right? You start to get so used to recording yourself after those first couple times where it feels terrifying. I know it's gonna. I'm not saying it's never gonna be terrifying ever again. It's gonna. But after those first couple times where you record yourself, maybe the fifth or sixth time, maybe you start to realize, oh, okay, maybe I'm not terribly shaking out of my skin. Maybe I'm not sweating bullets anymore, right? Maybe it feels like a level 9 nervousness instead of a level 10. And then you can start to go back and see, okay, even through the cringiness, even through the moments where I'm like, ooh, I did not like that note. Cool, you don't have to show anybody. You don't even have to show me, right? If I'm your vocal coach, you don't have to show me. It's not a requirement. You show me what you want to show me. And you go back and you look and you say, oh, okay, yeah, I remember in that moment, I was thinking, oh my God, here's that big scary note. And so of course my body tensed up. And of course that note went off pitch. And you end up being able to give yourself a lot more grace around the mess ups, being able to go back and look and compare feeling to sound in an objective way, right? Without the judgment. Now, a very important thing that I want you to do before you go back and look at your recordings is kick that gremlin out of the room. You know what I'm going to say. Your gremlin is always going to be in there because he's so used to being in the room when you're doing everything, right? It's a very strong default pattern that we all have. The inner critic is very, very strong. So before you go back and watch that recording, you need to do 2 seconds of work with your gremlin. I need you to be like, okay, gremlin, I hear you. I hear you worrying about what you're going to hear on that tape. I know that you're going to come in and you're going to tell me that I sound squeaky like I always do, or I forgot the words and that's a problem and you suck. I know what you're going to say ahead of time, and that's why I know that what you're going to say is not actually helpful. So I need you to leave the room, okay? If your gremlin's like, no, I don't want it, then you push him harder, okay? You use love first, and if love doesn't work, use force, okay? This is just a piece of yourself that is always going to be there. It is not a problem. It's a part of your biology. It's a part of your nervous system, part of your mind. But we can separate temporarily, and that's what I want you to do. I want you to be like, my grandma's name is George. So you're going to be like, George, I'm going to watch this video of myself singing, and I don't need your criticism because I'm trying to come in as an objective source here, and I know that you are not objective. Your sole job is just to keep me alive, and missing a note is not a danger to my survival, so your opinion is not needed here, okay? So we thank George for his service, and we say, George, I appreciate you keeping me alive. I love you so much. This is not the room for you, okay? Go wait outside, and then you have your gremlin free time for a little bit. Maybe you only get 10 seconds before he comes back in. That's okay. That's why we're building this muscle over and over again, just like we're building the muscle to see the good first, right? Because that's how you start to drown out the gremlin eventually, because the gremlin is always going to be that negative voice of like, look at all this stuff that you did wrong. Look at that note and that note and that note. All of these, you suck. Your job is to start building the anti-gremlin, right? The cheerleader in your head, so that you have both of these voices and not just the one, not just the negative voice. So all of this is for a reason. So you start to build up these muscles. You start to build up the imperfection muscle. You start to build up the being able to listen to yourself in an objective way. You start to build up the separation from your gremlin muscle. All of these are muscles that we don't really get most of the time. It's not something that society reminds us to do very often. It's like, be your own cheerleader, right? Society most of the time is like, hey, you better not do that because it's a risk and you might not succeed, so chill out, right? Duck your head back down beneath the crowd. So keep that in mind. You are the one that has to do this work, and nobody else can do it for you, unfortunately. But you have to, because society is so strong in telling you all the things that are wrong with you, right? You've probably experienced a lot of that from people close to you and or not close to you, from teachers and authority figures in your past. That's where the gremlin comes from. So it's not true, all the things that the gremlin are saying. It is literally an amalgamation of all of the people who thought they were working with your best interest and trying to keep you safe. And that's what your gremlin is grabbing onto. So we have to be the one to say, look, I keep me safe. I got me. I'm an adult now. I can take care of myself. And I know what is safe and what is not safe. And I don't need your opinion, George, or whatever your gremlin's name is. Okay? Your gremlin will tell you his name if you ask. His or her or their name if you ask. You get to have that relationship with your gremlin. And it doesn't always have to be a contentious one. It can be a love relationship as well. It can be like, hey, I love you. Thank you for helping me not walk into traffic today. I appreciate that, the heads up that you gave me. Like, hey, you better not do that. Like, don't take that step out into the road. We love the gremlin. That's what the gremlin's purpose is. And over time, especially as adults, we let that gremlin voice build up so that it is everything in our head. It is so loud we can't hear anything else. So what we're doing by recording yourself and by reminding yourself that you did good things, first and foremost, before you let yourself think about the bad things, is you are building up another voice in your head that can start to drown out that gremlin voice over time. No, I'm not saying you're going to end up delusional and you're going to think that you're the best singer in the world when you're not. That will almost never happen because that gremlin is so strong and so ingrained. But we have to find some gremlin free time so that we can grow at all, right? Because if the gremlin had its way, you would not grow. You would stay inside your little teeny comfort zone and you'd be just doing the same things over and over again for decades, right? You may have experienced this already, depending on how old you are. You have probably experienced a gremlin voice of sorts telling you, nope, go back down. Don't stick your head out. Don't be special. Don't try anything new because I can't guarantee your safety, especially in the creative space, because creativity feels really risky to a lot of people who are not used to being creative and sharing their creativity, right? So this is why this nervous system work for performers and for creative people is very different than therapy, than usual, when we're talking about trauma-informed stuff. This is a different world. So could you maybe be in a slight bit of danger when you're on a stage? Sure, you could trip and fall and break your ankle. Understandable. But is any big, huge danger going to come from you stepping up on stage in an open mic and singing and messing up? Probably not. Actual physical danger, right? Emotional pain, maybe a little bit, but that we can get over. That we can learn from. And it's all in your perspective, right? And this is exactly why I want you to start building up that cheerleader voice in your head so that when you do inevitably miss a note, it's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you it's never going to happen because it will. I have missed notes, many thousands of notes. I have forgotten words. I have messed up in many, many ways on stage. We're building up that cheerleader so that it doesn't totally derail you and so that you can keep going and one note doesn't stop you from singing a whole song, right? we build up that cheerleader so that you can step on stage and say, regardless of what happens, I love to do this and I'm gonna do it. Even though I'm not perfect, I'm good. And I am safe because I've got me. I'm keeping me safe. And that gremlin voice starts to just be a little teeny squeaky voice in the background going, hey, are you sure you want to do this? And you're like, yeah, of course I am. It's way more fun than you ever told me it was, because you were just trying to keep me in my little box. You know? So that's what I want to say. Practice is important. And I did a whole live about how to practice daily last week, so go check that out. If daily practice feels daunting for you still, go check that out. There's an anti-shame method of thinking about how to practice more often and more consistently. And this is the next level. Start to record yourself. Not to let that gremlin come in and judge you even more, but for you to, on purpose, start to build up your boundaries around when your gremlin can come in, right? So your gremlin relationship is never going to change. He's always going to be in charge if you keep letting him say, you know what'll happen if you record yourself? It's going to suck. You're going to hate it. Of course you will. It's going to be cringy. That's not a reason to let him be in charge, right? He's just telling you that to keep you in your comfort zone. Do you want to be in your comfort zone anymore? Nope. You're going to have to do a hard thing. You're going to have to say F off, George. And you're going to say, I'm going to do it even though it's cringy. I'm going to record myself. I'm going to watch it back. I'm going to find one good thing first. And then I'm going to hear all that gremlin voice come and be like, oh, but look at that and look at that and look at that. And you're going to be like, okay, thank you, George. Goodbye again. Okay, I'm going to find one more good thing. Okay, George is going to come back. I'm using hand gestures. Okay, thank you for telling me. George is going to come back. And you're going to be like, look, I hear you. I know all those bad things. I heard them too, but we don't have to think about that right now. I'm building up this other muscle. Go away. I'm going to find a third good thing. Okay, that's your assignment. Do you think you can do that? Give me a thumbs up. Sometime in the next 24 hours, I challenge you to record yourself singing for 30 seconds. This doesn't have to be much. 30 seconds, sing something from your heart, and go back and find 3 good things. So you start to build up that cheerleader muscle so that the gremlin muscle starts to not be the only thing in your head. Yeah? Can you do it? I believe in you. Give me, okay, amazing. All the feels. Thank you. And tell me how it went. You don't have to send me the video. Just tell me what you learned. Tell me the good things, right? Share with me the good things that you saw in your voice, because that is how we grow. And if you tell somebody else, it is so much more likely that it will keep happening, because now somebody else's perspective of you is now these good things as well. I'm happy to be that person. I'm here for you. In the DMs all the time. Send me stuff. Okay, lots of love. Vocal Magic peeps, I'll see you later this week. I think we have a session on Thursday. And then I will see all of you next Tuesday, and or if I decide to post in the meantime. So who knows? Lots of love. You got this. Don't let the gremlin be the only voice in your head. Okay? See you soon.